What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It is time for one of my favorite things of the year, the initial investment list for MLB The Show 2021. Basically, what I do here is I go team by team and kind of analyze the potential upgrades that they could have, both in the short term, since for the first time ever, well, maybe not ever, first time since I've been doing this, there's been games played when the games come out, so there's already some guys that we can eye for investments and say, hey, let's jump in on him. But also long term, right? There's some guys you want to get in on now on the ground floor before people are even talking about them, because as the season develops, I can see them getting upgrades. Now, if you don't even know what I'm talking about as far as investing and upgrades and what's going on, these are the live series cards on MLB The Show. As players perform, SDS every other week starting on April 30th will upgrade or downgrade those cards. Now, I don't focus on downgrades. That's just something that I have not put my time into in trying to guess those, because, yeah, it can help to know who might get downgraded, but the real interest is in upgrades, because you can improve your stub count if you invest in somebody who goes from silver to gold, and say you pay 300 stubs per. Now, the prices are going to be skewed right now because the game's out, because early in the cycle, things go crazy. So I don't want to get too hung up on prices, but let's just pretend, just go with me for a moment. Let's pretend that this card was like 200 by now, okay? And Austin Hayes, wasn't doing anything special, but then all of a sudden hit a surge, and you bought a bunch at 200, and you really thought, oh my gosh, he's hit 7 home runs in the last month. He's hitting, 380 during that time. He's due for an upgrade, and they're going to give him 3 points. They're going to put him at gold. The quick sell price for a silver is 100. The quick sell price for a gold is 1,000. So if you bought a bunch of Austin Hayes at 200, he goes up to gold, you quick sell those all back at 1,000, boom, you're clearing the profit there. You see how it works. So you want guys that are going to be level changers, going from bronze to silver, silver to gold, gold to diamond. Bronze to silver is not really a huge investment winner. Neither is common to bronze, but we do pay attention to those, because obviously if you go bronze to silver, you could set up being the next gold too. Some guys can make 2-level jumps. Speaking of, I'm going to be trying, now I'm not going to force it, I'm going to be trying to look for a guy on each team who I think is a 2-level jumper of the year. So somebody that's going to go from bronze to gold, from silver to diamond. Those are the 2 areas I'm really going to focus on. From common to silver, again, you're not really making a ton of stubs off that, and so that's not really where our focus is. We're trying to hit, grand slams and 3-run homers, not doubles in the gap. So let's just start with the Baltimore Orioles. So over here, I want to make sure I get the current stats up as well, so I can reference those just to get an idea of how players are playing. So if you wonder why I kind of look over here at times, that's my second screen, and I just want to get a snapshot look. So with the Orioles, obviously they're not a great team. Let's look at their silvers first here. They've got 4 across the top. All 4 of them could feasibly get to gold at some point during the year, but they're most likely one here. Anthony Santander just hit the IL with an injury, and so it's going to be really difficult for him to come through. And obviously with him being the highest rated, now we start to look at Hayes, Mancini, and Mountcastle. Mountcastle is a really interesting young bat, but he's also 5 points away, so it's going to take quite a bit of performance for him to get there. So then you're kind of left focusing on Hayes and Mancini. Hayes and Mancini are both off to brutal. Well, okay, let me peel back on brutal as far as Mancini goes. He's been about league average, but Hayes is off to a brutal start. So right now there's no outward investment in these 4. If I were going to maybe invest in somebody, it would probably be Mancini, because he's played at a gold level before, but I also wouldn't go crazy. His price is fair to invest in right now, but it'd be very small for me, because as somebody who is power focused, he needs a big batting average to really jump up. I could see the power getting boosted as he goes through the season and it gets hot in Camden Yards. And he can even spike a decent average, but this is a pretty good rating, a pretty good representation of what he is. And he needs 4 points. So I would not go crazy with Trey Mancini. None of their silvers really stand out to me. As far as the guys I'm looking at, like right now, the standout is Ced Mullins. who's playing out of his mind and could be headed to silver in the first upgrade. The only problem is, look at his price already. And this goes back to the early game cycle where bronzes are more expensive. Silvers are too, but bronzes are really expensive because people are completing collections. It really robs the investment value of somebody going bronze to silver. So unless you really see an avenue where Mullins can go to gold, I'm not sure I would necessarily go out and invest in him. What I would do, though, is I would hold the cards, the ones that I get of him in packs. If you're opening a ton of packs, things like that, and you get 5, 6, 7 Cedric Mullins, I'd probably just hang on to those and see where he goes after that first update, because if he does go to silver, maybe his price bounces up a little bit, and then you're not quick selling, you're actually putting in the sell orders, but that could certainly benefit you as well. As far as other guys that are performing well, Freddie Galvez is off to a good start. I know that's got to please Scuffy, but do we really see anything beyond maybe a boost to silver? Not really, and I don't really think he's getting silver upgrade on the first jump there on April 30th. So looking at everything offensively, there's not a whole lot for them. The other player that comes into focus with Ced Mullins is John Means. He's 1 point away from silver. He's pitching remarkably well right now, and you see that K9 at 48. He's got 8.7 strikeouts per 9. He's just under a strikeout per inning with 23 in 23 and 2/3. He's got a great chance to go silver in the first update. In fact, I think he's going to get there. He does have some gold upside. So I would actually look at him as their 2-level jumper. It's a little bit of cheating because he's already a 74. He's so close to silver. But hey, I didn't say it had to be from going from 70 all the way up to gold. If you're a bronze right now and you make it to gold, you're a 2-level jumper by the end of the season. So I like John Means to be that 2-level guy for Baltimore. I would invest in him. You can see right now that his price is perfectly fair to get in, especially if you believe in the potential gold. Now, don't go in and buy these 275 ones here on the left side, or actually it's only one 275, then it jumps to 300s. Put in orders, right? Go in, create a buy order, put them at 185, and drop one in like that, Don't go in there and overpay. So that's really it for Baltimore right now. Obviously, we know where they're at in their rebuild. I did press X on this. I don't know what's taking so long. They're in the midst of their rebuild right now, and so they're still working through some things. They do have some interesting young players, but none of them are really standing out right now. We'll revisit them as guys emerge, should that happen. Let's move on. Hey, and I already got my John Means. Let's move on to Boston. Let me get the Boston stats up. Boy, we got a lot to talk about as far as their hitters popping off. We'll see what kind of level gains they could get. Let's start at the top there. Obviously, you see Chris Sale as their diamond. He's not pitching right now. Nothing to really worry about with him. Let's focus on their golds here. They have 4 golds: Bogaerts, Martinez, and Verdugo. All 4 of whom, Bogaerts, Martinez, Devers, and Verdugo. All 4 of them are out of their minds right now. Now, based on what will be about 22, 23 games by the time the update locks, are they going to get to diamond? Bogaerts, I think he could. JD, I know he's completely bonkers right now, but I'm just not sure that they have 4 points for him right away. Because don't forget, I'm gonna bring up something from the past. His defense holds him back, but remember that year that he went to diamond, I think it was 2 years ago, they gave him kind of a little sneak tip fielding boost that wasn't necessarily earned. I don't know, but I was actually okay with it because at that point, JD Martinez was playing like a diamond, and they had to figure a way to get him there. They boosted his defense like 7-8 points or something. It was like a decent jump, but it only took him from god awful to crappy. Like it didn't make him a good fielder. It'd be one thing if they took him and made him a useful fielder just to get him to diamond. That would be changing the way that he plays. It didn't do that. So while I didn't see it coming, it did make sense. Now you see here, with plus 15s against lefties, he only gets 2 points with the inside edge. So can we really see enough from, again, a 22-game sample? He's at 16 right now, so I'm saying like 6-7 more games before they lock the update for the April 30th boost. Can he really get there? I'm going to say no. If you want to invest in him for the diamond going forward beyond this first upgrade, I totally get that. But as it stands right now, I don't know how he gets to diamond in the first week. Bogaerts, however, is out of his mind as well, hitting 393, 439, 557. He's killing it. And you see that his price is pretty fair right now if you believe he can get to Diamond. For the record, by the way, Diamond quick sells at 5,000. So if you buy a bunch at 3,300, there's still plenty of profit to be had there. Let me take a quick peek at how he's doing against righties, because you can see that power against righties and actually power in general. Let's look at both of his power metrics, because I was forgetting that the plus 11 there was influencing it. So he only has 1 homer on the year. And it is against lefties, but he has 5 doubles against righties. So his slugging is still pretty solid at 557. But my little shorthand of like good power is at least a 200 ISO. That's where you have to start, just to be like, hey, that's quality power that probably deserves 75 or higher. He's at 164. And it's because it's only 1 homer and a bunch of doubles. So it's not quite there yet. So for the opening week upgrade, I see some contact boost on both sides, versus righty versus lefty, into the high 80s. But I do not see enough to get him to Diamond just yet. Again, long term, and not even that long term, right? If he continues to perform, he could have it on the 2nd or 3rd update. So Martinez and Bogaerts are still Diamond investments for now, but do not expect it week 1. So if you're impatient, don't invest. But if you can wait a couple weeks and hopefully they continue to perform, obviously it can go south too, but if they continue to perform, we're going to see them get to Diamond, especially Bogaerts, because he's 2 points closer and he has defensive capability. So it doesn't all have to come from the offense the way it does for JD. Now, as far as Verdugo and Devers go, they're both also performing remarkably well, but they are, of course, 81 and 80 respectively, so they have a long way to go. Can they get there? I would say at least one of them can, and my bet's going to be on Verdugo, again, because he has a defensive foundation that helps him out. It's not so much that I believe his defense will get upgraded, but look at how, when you have a Diamond defense already, look at how much growth there is in his potential for hitting. And he's hitting currently 295, 357, 525 with 3 homers. So he's crushing the ball already. He played really well last year too. He's just been a guy who continues to get better. He is well over that 200 ISO that I like, hitting with a 230 ISO. Again, that's slugging minus batting average. That takes out your singles and gives you an idea of the extra base power that they have. Again, I'm looking for something 200 or above. Verdugo's at 230. Now, the one difficult part is that he has a heavy platoon split right now. You see here that he has an 84 contact against lefties. Well, he's only hitting 211 against them this year. So if they go in and they give him a big boost against righties, they probably have to bring down his lefty numbers at least a little. It's only 19 plate appearances, so I'm certainly not ready to say, oh, he can't hit lefties and he's completely struggling. But if they go in, they can't ignore that he's hitting 211. So if you look at Verdugo, he has to be long-term. I'm talking a month plus from now to get to Diamond, and that's a best case scenario. I would be investing in Verdugo with an eye on June if I really want to get in there. But look at that price. If he comes through, you can gain almost 4,000 per card investment. So if you're willing to wait for the long haul, I'd probably get 7 to 10 of his card if your bankroll can allow it. Now, I don't even have one, so I should probably get in and at least get one. And the beauty of this investment, right, by the way, remember what I said, the quick sell price is for gold. It's 1,000, right? So if I pay $11.22 for this, and let's just say that things go south and he actually really starts to hit poorly to the point where I'm nervous that he's going to get downgraded into silver. Well, I'll quick sell however many I get here, and yeah, I'll take a little loss, but it's very minimal. If I'm buying all of these at 11 something in the low 1100s, I'm only putting 100 something stubs at risk. So I really don't mind doing that. Now the market's moving a little slow, so I'm not going to sit here and make you guys watch me put in 10 orders. I just figured while I was talking about him, I might as well get a few of that boy Verdugo. Now for Devers, I really like him, and I think he's actually a better hitter than Verdugo. The problem, of course, is that his defense leaves a lot to be desired and always has. Now, he's kind of flirted with the diamond range before, And I think he's going to have an opportunity to do that again this year. And it's going to come down to how much of that power continues to be there. Remember, he spiked a 32 homer season in 2019, then came all the way back down last year, and had just, well, I don't want to cite the homers because he only played 57 games. So he went from 32 to 11, but they weren't, he played 100 fewer games. But his slugging went from 555 to 483. So the power drop was noticeable. But he's back up to 542 slugging this year, well above the 200 threshold of ISO. He's toting a 271 right now, which is fantastic. The problem, of course, is that he's 5 points away. And how long will it take for him to really chisel out 5 points of offensive gains? Now, being a common defender, if he improves and they see fit to improve him, he'd have to make a sharp improvement, but there is at least a little growth there. The downside is, though, the reason I don't like this profile as much as the Verdugo one is because they simply don't upgrade defense nearly as often as they do offense. And that's for good reason, by the way, because defense fluctuates. You need a big sample of defense to really tag a guy and say, this is how he is defensively, because a guy can play great, the worst defender in baseball can play great defense for a month. Yeah, even some of those slugs there in the outfield, like, I know he doesn't even play a defense anymore, but you could put Nelson Cruz out in the left for a month, and there is a timeline out there. There's a world where he can play a good month, right? Doesn't have to make too many crazy plays, like in the gap or anything. Makes a couple over-the-shoulder catches, some good throwouts at second and third, and boom, he has a good defensive rating. And everyone's like, wait, is Nelson Cruz good at defense? No, he played well, and it wasn't that many batted balls, and he did what he was supposed to do. So Devers would have to be a pretty big standout defensively to really get a boost there. I will say, though, if he's crushing the ball into June, and we do see a little bit of defensive improvement, and so let's say the offense kind of gets him to 84, but they say, well, if we improve the fielding, which he's earned, if we improve it enough, he can get to 85. I could see them doing it similar to what they did with J.D. Martinez when they got him there. So those are the front runners on Boston. Now everyone's kicking butt, so we have more to talk about too. Christian Vasquez is just 1 point away. He's been in the gold realm before, and he's back out firing yet again, playing pretty well. Now, he has a 768 OPS, which is not off the charts. The key for me is going to be if he can deliver power against righties or contact against lefties. Obviously, I'm going pretty straightforward here. I'm just looking at his weaknesses and saying, hey, can he improve one or both of those to get us the 1 point that we need? Early on, 21 plate appearances, he's hitting 200 against lefties, so that's not going to do it. One of his 2 homers is against righties, but he only has a 139 slug. So right now, it's not there, even though he's playing pretty well. He's not playing exceptionally. That said, when you're 1 point away, he has to be on the radar. So keep a close eye on him. His price is fair to invest in. If you're a Vasquez believer, get a little investment in there. He really showed these last few years that he can hit. I remember when he broke out in 2019. I was pretty skeptical of it. I'll freely admit that. He hit 23 homers. He and Roberto Perez were 2 defensive studs that just started hitting homers out of nowhere. Of course, the bouncy ball was helping, but I was like, I don't know about that. And I was not bought in on him for 2020. And to his credit, in the 47 games that he played, he popped 7 more homers. The power was there. He played very well yet again. And like I said, he's off to another good start. So I've accepted that Vasquez is a good player. He's going to live somewhere in like the 77 to 81 range. So he's definitely a gold investment. Hold for gold on Christian Vasquez. Hunter Renfroe, no. Just no. Kike Hernandez. One thing I was really excited about when Kike Hernandez signed with the Red Sox is that he was going to get full-time run. And maybe I felt like in previous years he's been in that part-time role with the Dodgers where he can play for a couple weeks at a time for an injury, but then he's got sporadic playing time, and it kind of made his offense uneven. He'd have a great run, go cold for a week, or go cold for a month where he only plays 12 total games, or starts only 12 games, gets in a bunch of defensive reps. It's hard to have disjointed playing time like that. So I was like, well, what can he do if they just set it and forget it and let him play? Well, so far he's been about average. So there's not a whole lot there to really dig in on. He's someone I'm keeping on my watch list, but he's not currently somebody that I would invest in, even at this low price, as a hold for gold. So just keep him on your watch list. I would not jump in just yet. Eduardo Rodriguez on the pitching side and Nathan Eovaldi are both off to fantastic starts. They're striking out a ton of guys and they're not walking anybody. They are very much on the hold for gold radar. I would invest for sure. Let's see where Eduardo's price is at. Very, very fair price. Now, he does need 4 points, so he's not going to get it week 1. But if he gets 2 points week 1 and gets up to a 78, then everyone's going to be in on him. So you got to jump in now if you believe in Eduardo. Nathan Eovaldi, man, this is a guy I have loved since his Dodger days, back when he was a prospect. And I've rooted for him throughout his entire career. And he's shown flashes of greatness before, for 2 months here, 2 months there. And then injury seems to always derail him. And so that could happen again this year. That said, the price is good enough. Again, look at that price relative to the quick sell. You can go in, buy now for 170 something, 180 something if it inches up a little bit. Worst case scenario is he doesn't get it and you're out a handful of stubs. It's not a super risky investment. And like I said, he's killing it right now. So I think the Hit 9, the K9, and maybe even the BB9 can get upgraded. The 74 is pretty high, but he does have 1.5 walks right now. So I think there's upgrades galore. And then more importantly, perhaps, the sneak tip upgrade, the one that we don't always talk about for starters, is stamina. Now, 66 is pretty low. I think there's a handful of points here if he continues to go 5+. He's gone 5 1/3, 7, 5, and 6 1/3. So only once has he not eclipsed 5. I think something in the mid-60s is about a 5-inning starter. So if he keeps going 6, throw in a couple 7s in there, I think his stamina gets into the 70s, and that can help him get to gold as well. He's a long way out because of 5 points, but we invest now because it's super cheap, and that can pay dividends down the line. Marwin Gonzalez, let's see what he's up to. I actually am unfamiliar with his stats right now. Let me take a drink while we're pulling it up. Marwin is doing nothing. Never mind. Ottavino, I think he's actually been getting kind of murked. 6.35 ERA. Let's see any of their pitchers here. Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes is a 73. So he's only 2 points away from silver. And you can see here from his inside edge that +2 in K, +2 in BB already gets him to a 74. This is like a lock silver right now, and barring just one disaster outing from now until they lock the first roster update. And even then, I think it would have to have like a bunch of hits or a bunch of walks. Because even if he gave up like 4 runs, let's say he gave up, I don't know, like a couple hits, and then like a 3-run homer or something. So it's like 1 inning, 3 hits, 3 runs, and a strikeout or something. That would be bad. That would boost his numbers, but I don't even think it would take him off the silver. I think to really get off the silver right now, he'd have to go out and have like a 4-walk outing or like a 5-hit outing. So I think he's kind of an automatic silver right now in the first upgrade. The question is, do you believe he can get to gold? And then the question you have to ask yourself there is, can he continue to stifle hits and walks the way he has so far this year? In 9 innings, he's only allowed 3 hits and 2 walks. Now, the walk rate is a major improvement, and you can see there that there's a lot to improve upon. Can he maintain that? If so, then gold is definitely in the picture. I'm a little suspect on that because he's never been somebody to limit walks, but it's certainly worth investing in and keeping an eye on. I would consider investing now and holding after he gets silver and seeing how this plays out. Because what do you really need to do? If you buy him now at 80, 85, you don't need the 15 to 20 stubs by quick selling him at 100. You should invest, see where the price goes when he's a silver, see how he continues to perform, and maybe make him a long-term investment to be a 2-level jumper. Now, he's not my official 2-level jump pick, but I also don't think I made one yet, so let me see. He might be. I might go back and make him one. Let me see. Man, I want to get super ballsy and be like Eovaldi to diamond, but I don't really believe that. So I can't fake that and lie to y'all. You know what? Barnes is going to be the 2-level jumper because he is pitching remarkably well. The strikeout stuff's never really been in question, and he's performing even better there this year. If he can maintain some of the walk suppression, that's really going to help him get there because there's such an obvious potential gain there with the 41 BB9. I'm going to make Matt Barnes my 2-level jumper on Boston. In fact, let me get it. See, is somebody tapped into this? They're already listening and bumping it up to a hundo? I'm not going to pay that, though. I'm going to jump down. I'm going to do a little 88 here. I'm just going to get a couple orders in because I don't even have one. And before you guys get in there and boost that price, I want to at least have him for my Boston collection, let alone as an investment. So let me at least get this one order here. I'll do a second one real quick while I'm looking over the rest of Boston here to see if there's anybody else that we really need to talk about right now. Not really. Let me see if he's in the game. Garrett Whitlock is a 25-year-old rookie who is pitching out of his mind. Now, it's 9 innings. It's not a huge sample, but he has allowed 3 hits, 0 walks, and has 11 strikeouts. Now, he's killing it. If he's in the game, it's almost certainly as a common. So let's check that. Let's see where he's at because that's something that that could be a quick boost for him because he's out of his mind right now. There he is. So he's a 57. So he's got a long way to a lot of room to grow because they brought him in as a common. They don't really know anything about him. I understand that, bringing him in low, but just based on this 9 innings, he should get a healthy boost. I could see him getting into like a low bronze. As far as whether or not he's got silver potential, I can't say that only because I also haven't even watched him, right? I see these numbers. I've actually been seeing him in box scores, and he's kind of in my mind as like, is he going to be one of those middle relievers that kind of pops off this year? Not necessarily like Devin Williams quality, but that kind of guy who are like, we weren't talking about him last year, and now Garrett Whitlock is a thing. I don't know. Until I see him pitch, I'm not comfortable saying he's going to go common to silver. I do think he's going to get to bronze. It could be as early as this week, even just on the strength of the 9 innings because of how good they were. In the minors, back in 2019, when he pitched for the Yankees, by the way, he was fine. He's never been that great. He was a starter. Okay, yeah, and he pitched pretty well. So they moved into the bullpen. So yeah, I think he gets to bronze, but I wouldn't go too much beyond that. Anything else on the Red Sox that needs our attention? I don't think so. Nick Pivetta has a decent ERA, but his core numbers aren't very good, so don't worry about that. One more. Back to the offensive level. Christian Arroyo. You may remember him. He was actually a pretty big prospect many moons ago, back when he was with San Francisco, then got moved to Tampa Bay. I want to say in the Evan Longoria deal. I may be wrong on that, but I think that's correct. I could look it up, but I'm not going to right now. I'm trying to pick up the pace a little bit. But he's out of his mind, hitting 357, 386, 524. He has 7 doubles, no homers yet, but he's a common. So this performance alone should get him boosted a good handful of points. I think he gets into the bronze category, although you can see here that plus 18s against lefties only gets him to 64. So again, you got to be careful. Inside Edge is a great guide to letting us know on some stuff at times, to be like, if you're really confident in a guy and then you see that his inside edge only takes him to a certain level, it might make you tap the brakes a little bit. Now, Christian Arroyo, nobody's going crazy on him, but I like to see it on silvers and golds, and I'm like, whoa, he gets this big upgrade and he only gets 1 point from it. That means he's going to need a ton to move to the level I want. Conversely, you can see something like we saw with Barnes, where only plus 2s in Ks and walks put him up from bronze to silver. So we know that he doesn't have to do a whole lot to really jump up. So that's going to do it for Boston. Let's move on to our next squad here in the in the AL East, and that would be everyone's favorite team, the Yankees. I don't think it's everyone's favorite team. Pardon me, the servers are moving a little slow here. I did press circle about 30 minutes ago. A little bumpy to start the season. I know it's frustrating, but it's to be expected, right? Especially with the Xbox folks coming in. Welcome, Xbox folks. Hope you're enjoying the game so far. This has been an excellent debut as somebody who's been playing the show for a while. So if you are new to the game, yeah, I hope you're really enjoying it because you're getting one of the best opening releases that we've had. Again, servers have been bumpy, but that's to be expected as far as the gameplay, the modes, the content, off the charts. Now, This is actually going to be a pretty quick one because the Yankees don't have a lot to talk about right now because they're playing really poorly. And I'm not just trying to do the Yankee hate thing. The Yankees fans are mad at their own team. So the top level of diamonds, we don't need to worry about them right now because even if they are going to go up, they're not really investment opportunities to parlay anyway. So let's look at their golds. Unfortunately, my boy Luke Voigt isn't playing right now, so there's nothing to talk about with him. Giancarlo Stanton is 1 point away, but he's playing horribly, so it doesn't matter. Gio Urshela, one of the few guys who's actually doing pretty well with a 273, 310, 455 run, including a couple homers, but that's 3 points away. So he's a long-term diamond potential. And it's not a high probability, right? If I was judging probabilities, like if I took all the golds that I think could get the diamond this year, at best, he's in the bottom third of that list. And I don't even know all the, like I'm just kind of mentally trying to place them. I would think even Urshela, somebody who I really like and believe in as a quality player who can hit and field, he's still a long shot because he is 3 points away. He's not a power stud, and he's like a good average, but he already has good average or good contact ratings. So unless he pops off either in the power department or in the contact versus lefty, it is going to be hard for him to get there, especially now that they've made his defensive profile a diamond, which was long overdue, by the way. So I do love Urshela. I could see maybe a small investment in him. Say, for example, let's just say, just to put numbers to it, your normal investment, what you would consider a big investment in somebody, on the gold level is 25, right? I'm going to go get 25 of this guy. That's a big investment, right? That's probably about, $30K depending on how much they cost. It can range from probably like, 25 at the minimum because they would at least cost $1,000 all the way up to like 40K. Let's say that's what you consider a baseline investment, or a big investment, somebody that you really like. With somebody like Urshela, I would do like 5 or 6. Okay, so scale it down. Whatever your big number is, say it's 30, then you bring it down and you live somewhere in the 6 to 9 range. Scale it. It would have to be low. I'll probably end up. I have one right now. I'll probably end up with 4, and just put 4 off to the side. If he hits diamond, I get a little boon there. If not, no harm, no foul. Continuing on, again, this is going to be a little bit of a quick one because they're just not playing well. Torres, horrible. So he's somebody that you could envision him maybe getting diamond if everything was going right, but nothing's going right now. Now, here's one thing I do want to say before I get into any more individual players. There's a buy low opportunity here too. Just because somebody's not an obvious investment. What's happening? Oh, I hit R2 on accident. Just because somebody's not an obvious investment right now doesn't mean that you shouldn't be getting in on them. In fact, now might be the time to get in on some Yankees that you believe in because their prices aren't going to be as high because they're not performing well. Take, for example, somebody like Hicks. He's actually still pretty high there at 400. I was kind of hoping he'd be in the 200s. I guess because he's so good in the game. Like, people know how good he is as a card, and you can still use silvers this early. I was hoping he's a little lower. He is only 1 point away, though, but he's been just horrendously bad. So he's a long way out. He could catch a downgrade week 1, then you should invest in him. So actually hold off on Hicks, see what happens on April 30th, and then jump in if he jumps down to like a 77 rating like that Inside Edge has him down at. And then, Clint Frazier's been terrible. So even though he's only 2 points away, I don't really see anything there. As far as Jameson Taillon goes, he threw well his last time out. He has a good strikeout rate and walk rate right now. But his hit rate is through the roof, as is his home run rate. So I don't think they're going to do anything with him right now. I think they would probably just leave him. They're going to keep an eye on those strikeout and walk rates. But if they go in and boost those, well, then they'd have to bring down the hits and the homers anyway, so it would be neutral. But this is what I'm talking about with the buy low. He's under 300. You get a handful right now, get 10 shares of him, put him off to the side, and then just keep a close eye on him. And if he continues to cut the home runs and hits the way he did his last time out, then all of a sudden he comes into focus as a great potential gold. Let's see, anybody else here? Jordan Montgomery, somebody I really liked coming into the year, also having a big home run issue. Although that's his only problem right now. Where is Jormont? Here he is as a 73. So I think he'll get silver this year. I feel very confident in that. There is some gold potential, though. And I think... Am I going to make him my 2-level jumper? Nah, you know what? Nah. I'm going to go, man, I don't know. I don't know if Taillon can get to diamond. I love Jameson Taillon, for those that don't know. I've been writing about him for so long. I just really, really like him. I just don't know, though. I wanted to say it, but I can't pull the trigger. Yeah, I'll make Jormont my 2-level jumper. I do think he has an opportunity to go to gold this year. In fact, his strikeout and walk rates right now are both excellent, and hit rate. All three of those are excellent, but his home runs are through the roof at 2.1 per 9. I mean, that's 4 homers in 17 innings. It's not even that crazy. It's just that it's a small sample. So that's holding him back a little bit, but he's definitely somebody that if he smooths out those homers, keeps these strikeouts, walks, and hits, then he'll be silver very quickly, and then he'll be at that 77, 78 range, just knocking on the door of gold. So at 36 stubs, hell yeah, I'm getting in on that. In fact, I'm going to drop a couple here while we're chatting, and I look over the rest of the Yankees because I'm not missing out on that. I'm going to put him in at 39. Let's see here. Chapman's been killing it, but again, he's already a diamond. Oh, I got another great one. In fact, I have another 2-level jumper. I'll mention Chad Green quickly. He's flirted with diamond in the past, but he's never quite gotten there, and his strikeout rate isn't that great right now, so I think he's, again, going to flirt with it. We'll cover him as, obviously I'm going to cover the investments all year. I wouldn't jump in right now. Because relievers getting to diamond is difficult in general. He's been on the cusp before and they've never put him there. So unless we see a big strikeout surge from Chad Green, I just don't really see it. Kluber, Domingo Germán, no. Here's the other one that I think could be a 2-level jumper. This is one of my guys here this year. A little sneak tip. I play a lot of deep fantasy baseball leagues, so guys that like a middle reliever can actually have some value. And my boy Johnny Lasagna stays living in the cut, and I do think he could actually be a 2-level jumper this year. He's pitching remarkably well right now. His strikeout rate is at 9.8. He has 12 in 11 innings. Very good. He has just 1 walk, just 7 hits allowed, just 1 homer. He's been brilliant in 11 innings. I think he's going to get to silver in week 1, and then from there, if he continues to beast, he could be one of those middle relievers that pushes his way all the way to gold. So you see 2 right now. The next time you see my inventory, whether that's on stream on Wednesday night, if you're watching this on Wednesday, you're going to see a heck of a lot more in my inventory. I'm going to be buying up a lot of Johnny Lasagna because I think he's a monster. I think he can even end up with some spot starts, and obviously if he does well there, then that's a bigger sample that he's really pushing his numbers for. But even as a multi-inning middle reliever type, going between 1 plus to 3 innings, I think he can be somebody that really jumps up this year. So I'm going to pick 2-level jumpers here with Jordan Montgomery and Jonathan Loaizaga, excuse me. And then anybody else? No. I know Kyle Higashioka has the 2 homers. He's kind of like one of those cult favorite type of players, especially in the MLB the show community, because that Tops Now last year was completely slept on. That card was devastating. So good. I know some folks in my community really liked him, so hats off to y'all because you guys put him on my radar, and then he was somebody I would draft in every BR. I would put him in an event if he fit. That Tops Now card was beastly. Maybe he gets another one because it was a 2-homer game. Wasn't that what got him the one last year? Was it a 2-homer game or a 3-homer game? I can't remember, but I think it was a multi-homer game that put Kyle Higashioka into the Tops Now realm. If they do it again this year and they put that power up there where it was last year, watch out. I'm in. All right, let's move on here. You guys don't need to watch me put in a bunch of buy orders. I'm done talking about the Yankees. And Yankees fans, chill. You guys are going to be fine. If I was a Yankees fan, I'd be like, I might be worried about a few individual players, but as a team, I'd be 0% concerned. I really have zero concern. Well, I have zero new concerns. I was already worried about the rotation behind Cole coming into the year, even as somebody who loves Tyone, and I was excited about Kluber until I saw him in spring. I was already worried about that, but they have so many assets that they can trade or bring up that I think they'll fix it. So that's why I'm still not actually afraid of anything tangible with the Yankees. Let's get into the Rays. They've been fine this year. They're 10-8, so they're treading water, nothing crazy. Let's see here. We have Joey Wendell's out of his freaking mind right now. He's hitting 356, 387, 593 with 3 homers. That's going to get a boost. It's not going to get 4 points. It's too soon to give him 4 points based on 62 plate appearances. But if it gives him 2 points, it puts him in that gold focus. Now, the question that you have to really ask yourself, and I think off rip my answer is no, just because I think that's the prudent answer. But if you believe that this power can hold to a degree, not to the 593 slug that he has, let's not get silly, but if you believe that he can push toward like a high teens home run total this year, and for his career he has 19 in 1,172 plate appearances, so hitting 17 plus homers would be a big jump. If you believe he can do that, and he's got 3 already, then there is some gold potential here, because he doesn't strike out a ton. He's always been a good batting average guy. And if he's adding some power, it's not going to take, and he already has gold defense, it's not going to take much to get him there. So I would invest, if you believe in him, I would invest now, because if he gets 2 more points, that price is going to go up. So I'd get a few shares now, and then kind of wait and see where everything goes after that first update. It's a long-term guy, and you might end up bailing out if he doesn't hit a homer for like a month. But I do like where he's at right now. He's a good bat-to-ball guy. If he's found a little something with the power stroke, it could be there for Joey Wendell. So he's an interesting longer-term hold for gold. Looking at their top row here, Brandon Lau has unfortunately been miserable thus far. Kevin Kiermaier just started playing. He hasn't done anything special. Arozarena's been fine, but he hasn't been a standout. And by the way, I love what they did last year when they put him at Diamond, and then they didn't bring him back at Diamond starting this year, because they shouldn't have, right? And what I like is there's a turning point in any given season. Last year was a totally different thing, so let's not judge everything based off that. They were moving things quickly. But even in a 6-month season, there's a turning point probably in like late June, early July, where the season that we're in starts to take hold of the card more so than the history. And if somebody like a Arozarena is playing like a diamond for that year, I love that they make him a diamond so that in the here and now, you're using Diamond Arozarena. That doesn't mean that he earns it for next year yet, because his whole track record, when you go back and look at the 3 years, because they judge the cards off of the previous 3 years, and they weight them equally, by the way, coming into the year. But then I think the weighting starts to shift more toward the current season as we go forward. And then, like I said, in July, maybe even into July, and then around the trade deadline at the end of July is when it really grabs hold. Maybe June is a little too early, but still. Arozarena finished last year at 85. I thought that was a great move. Coming in this year, I thought he'd be like an 82, 83. He's an 81. I totally get that. He can earn it, though, and be a very long-term diamond potential. Now, what it's going to come down to for him is batting average and maybe some defensive improvements. So keep an eye on some of his defensive metrics over at Baseball Savant or Fangraphs, and if you start to see those improve while he's toting a good batting average, that's what it would take to get him to diamond. Or just a power explosion. That's always in the cards too. If he just goes off the way he did last year and he's hitting, he's pacing toward like a 35 homer season or something, that could get him there too. But I do think there's a few different avenues to where, again, 11.25, you're not putting in a big investment. So don't go crazy. Don't get 80 Arozarenas. I know one of you crazies is going to do that, okay? Tweet me at Spore when you do it, because I know one of y'all is going to do it. I would not recommend that, but I'm probably going to end up with like 12. I'm going to have 12 to 15 Arozarenas, hopefully at this low price, just over 1,100. small investment. If he doesn't pan out, and I bought him a bunch in fantasy too, so I was bought in on a Rosarena, and I'm just realizing I do not have to hit triangle. All the info is right here. I didn't realize they have the community market info, and of course the radio. I never use the circle graph for some reason. I just see it better mentally, like this on the triangle when I hit triangle on the page. But I'm going to start using this. It'll save us some time. So that's a Rosarena long-term investment. Who else is performing well right now? A one-time gold. Austin Meadows is out of his mind. Now here's the tough part. He's been better in real life than he is for MLB The Show. And what do I mean by that? He has an 848 OPS, which is very good, but that's OBP plus slugging. His batting average is actually 226, so his contact numbers might even get downgraded, let alone catching any sort of upgrade. They might just keep him at where they are and give him some more time. But if they go in and maybe give him like a little power boost for the 484 slug that he has, they probably have to bring down the contact. So he is a long-term hold for gold because he has the skills and he's been there before. And as you can see, plus 11s would get him there. And so that's something that can certainly happen. So I would invest in him as a long-term guy if you believe in Austin Meadows. But it's gonna take a while because that batting average is so low. So do not expect it in the short term. Now, some of you, if you have a lighter bankroll, try not to invest so much in the long-term guys. Try to find some of the short-termers so that you can build your bankroll quicker. Those of you who are working with a bigger bankroll, you put in some money or you've already been grinding on the market to get your stubs count up, you can invest in some of these longer-term guys. Now with Meadows, I'm not talking like June or July, to be quite honest. Long-term for him at this point really just means another 3 weeks or so. Because that batting average can turn quickly. String together a few multi-hit games or get multi-hits in like 5 out of 7 games, and all of a sudden he's hitting 290. It doesn't take much at the beginning of the season. So when I say long-term, I basically, with Meadows specifically, I just mean he's not going to get it April 30th, but if he opens up the floodgates on his batting average after that, he's fair game because he's so close. So I do like Austin Meadows as a hold for gold. Elsewhere on the ball club, we see Francisco Mejia is playing well, but it's 32 plate appearances. I would not go crazy on that. Nobody else really on the offense is standing out for me. Let's move over to the pitching side. Where is he? Where'd he go? There he is. And there, I just saw in the corner. I hit triangle because I'm an idiot. But community market, upper right, his price, it's already too high. You already missed out, okay? If you didn't invest, you already missed out on getting him for gold. Here's the thing, though. If you fully believe in Tyler Glasnow as a monster stud that he can be, and you believe in this new slider that is not only improving his strikeouts, but also his walks and his hits, and he hasn't given up a homer, well, then guess who's a 2-level jumper? Tyler Glasnow. So yes, he is my 2-level pick for this team. There is a little risk because you are investing now at a gold price, but you're holding him for the diamond potential. So just keep that in mind. The worst case here, well, when I say worst case, I'm not talking about like if they get injured and the season's totally ruined. I'm talking about if they stay on a standard trajectory of performance. So meaning like if he even comes back down a little bit from where he is, or comes down from where he is this year and gets more in line with where he was last year, he's still going to be a gold. And so you can quick sell, take a little bit of, or not even quick sell, you can just manually sell and probably not lose that many stubs. So it's not that crazy of an investment. Now he is 4 points away from gold. I think he's going to get most of it on the 30th. They're going to boost his Ks big time. They're going to boost his BBs big time. And they should even boost his hit rate a pretty good bit. So he could get gold on April 30th as far as I'm concerned. Even though it's 4 points and it's only 4 starts, Glasnow is a proven talent. He's been elite before in flashes. And I think he maybe could have deserved a higher rating coming into this year, maybe been a 78, 79 anyway. So they're going to make up for that, in my opinion. He's going to get gold in the April 30th update and then be on his way to diamond. Now, that's going to take a while because I think even if he does get the gold on April 30th, it's probably going to be an 80 or an 81. So he's still going to be 4 or 5 points away. That's going to take another 7 to 10 starts, unless it could take, 5 to 7. if they're super elite starts the way we've seen thus far. But if he smooths out a little bit, comes back to the pack, it's going to take more in the 7 to 10 realm. So be prepared to hold, but you're holding for diamond, because I do think that Tyler Glasnow is #destined for diamond, and he's my 2-level jumper for this team. Elsewhere on the pitching front, Michael Wacha is pitching out of his mind. His 4.20 ERA doesn't stand out as like super good, but look at the skills that he's putting up with 12 strikeouts per 9, 7.2 hits, 0.6 homers. Now the walks are a little high, but that strikeout rate is so good that I think it's going to carry Wacha. Did I already pass him? Where is he? Wacha, where are you, buddy? Are you this low? Hello? Am I just bypassing him? This is embarrassing. I can't read. I probably bypassed him like 15 times. You guys are laughing at me. Or he's not on this team. He's not on this team, is he? Please tell me I did not miss him. They don't have that many players. I can't. Oh, I am blind. Damn it. I was really hoping I was right on that one. Son of a gun. Anyway, he's only a couple points away from silver. He could get it on the 30th. He's very cheap right now. I want to say that gold is possible because I'm a huge Michael Wacha stan. I've been a fan of his dating all the way back to his debut with the Cardinals, and I kept thinking that if he could just be healthy, he'd be a monster. Gold is a long way out. If you're not prepared to hold him till like the rest of the season, do not hold for gold on Wacha. I might do so as a personal thing, but sometimes I will do something on my own that I don't necessarily put out as a recommendation because I don't believe that the likelihood is high enough to feel confident in telling you guys to do that. So if you see me, I only have one right now. If you see me holding a little 8 to 10 shares, just know that that's a personal thing that I really like him. He is improving. His pitches have gotten better. I just wrote him up in an article today about his swing and strike rate boost, and a lot of it's coming from he's lowered his four-seamer usage, and it's gotten better. It's like less is more. And the what is it? The cutter that's dominating. Hang on, his changeup's been good. Yeah, the cutter has been really good for him. So we've seen some good improvements to get to silver. He's probably going to stay at silver though. I don't necessarily see gold for Wacha, but man, it would be cool because I really do like him. Another potential upgrade is this man, Diego Castillo. He's also flirted with gold. Has he ever made gold? Can someone fact check that on me? I think he's made gold before and then lost it. I confuse him and Alvarado. I know they've always been those like go-to silvers, but I can't remember if he's actually made it. He's off to a good start so far this year. He's 13 strikeouts in 9 innings, just 4 hits allowed. We know he can pitch really well. But look here, plus 11s only gets him to 78. So he's a little bit of a longer term hold for gold, and that's just kind of the way it goes for relievers because they have small samples, so they need more time. I think that's going to kind of do it for the Rays here. Josh Fleming's pitching well as far as an ERA standpoint. He's at .87 ERA, but he doesn't really have the skills to go with it. He's at 4.4 strikeouts per 9. Good walk rate, good hit rate, but not enough strikeouts. Don't worry about Josh Fleming as far as an investment. I think we've covered the main ones. I will give a small shout to just keep an eye on Willy Adames. He's not doing that well, but I'm a huge Willy Adames fan, and if he does turn it on, there's obviously still gold potential there because he's only 3 points away. The defense is already pretty solid, and there's obvious avenues that can get him there. He does need to improve quite a bit, though. He's actually been below average thus far. So I wouldn't go in hardcore investing. It's a long-term type of guy. We're talking like July, unless he just goes the hell off. Moving on, our last team in the AL East is Toronto. And Toronto, unfortunately, already lost their diamond to start the season. Their next potential diamond hasn't played yet in George Springer, and yet they're 7-10. Who could have figured that when their 2 best players by MLB The Show ratings have literally delivered zeros for them? So that's unfortunate. Honestly, the fact that they're even treading water, like 7-10, I know that's below 500, so they're not treading water, but the fact that they're kind of hanging in there with all the injuries that they've been dealt speaks to some of the improvements that they've had from certain guys. The first one I'm going to look at is Steven Matz. I imagine he's a bronze, maybe even a common. Probably still a bronze. There he is, 71. Can he get to Silver? Hey, whoa, I think I made a mistake earlier. I think I implied that Silver was at 70 because I think I mentioned somebody was at 68, 2 points away. Silver's 75. I am indeed a moron. I think I made that mistake. Pardon me if I did, because that does change the outcome of things quite a bit. And I'm going to need to not do that. So at 71 here, he's 4 points away, but he is out of his mind. And there, even though it is only 18 innings, there is some viability to what Steven Matz is doing, meaning you look underneath the hood and there's a lot of improvements that stand out and say, hey, this is something to watch. Strikeouts are up. Walks and hits are down. Homers are down. Everything's there. He's going to get like a 2 to 4 point gain off rip. I know that's a bit of a range because it's either staying in bronze or getting the silver. It's just hard to know how aggressive they're going to be based off of that. Plus, he's going to get at least one more start between now and then. And if that goes really well, I think that's going to push him closer to maybe getting into silver in week 1. He's always had interesting stuff. We've seen Matz be good before. I think we've even seen him be a silver. I don't think he's ever gotten to gold, but I think at points during his Mets career, he's been a silver card. So this isn't out of nowhere, and that's why I think he could get the 4 points off rip. As far as gold, it's not out of the realm for a 30-year-old Steven Matz to really push and have a big breakout season, or a rejuvenation season, I would call it, because it's not really a breakout. He's broken out before. But obviously, I would not go hog wild in investing in him because we've seen the ups and downs with him before. So I would just invest in him as a silver for now. And again, I can't remember who I said it with last, where you invest in silver and then you just hold. You're not necessarily selling those to get the quick sell stubs because he's only 82 right now anyway. Just see where it goes. Get in now on the ground floor. He could be one of those 2-level guys. He does need 9 points to do it, so it's going to take another 10 starts from here. I say 13 starts in. If he's still pitching out of his mind, they could justify putting him at a gold, assuming he's still striking out a ton of guys, not walking many, and not allowing too many hits. So he's been one of the main focuses for them. Everyone else is getting hurt, so there aren't too many guys to really go in on. As far as their offense goes, I mean, you know who I have to talk about. You know. Let me take a drink before we dive in on this because it's very important. You see him there, Vladdy Jr. Arguably been the best player in baseball to this point. He's getting an upgrade on the 30th. How high is it going to go? If that inside, if you're paying attention to what I've been saying here, and I know you guys are, that inside edge alone should tap the brakes on investing too high. It was Tyler Glasnow, I think, that I said invest in. Oh, no, he was going to go from silver to gold. Anyway, this is very similar to the Tyler Glasnow. Only invest in Guerrero if you really believe he can get to diamond this year. And here's the thing, he can. Right? He's playing remarkably well. He's starting to do some of the things that we've been projecting on him for the first 2 years of his career. He is my 2-level pick for this team. It's a little bit of an obvious one, I understand, but there's still investment possibility because he is only 11.47 right now. Even if you did the buy now at 16.32, if he got to diamond, that's still a huge payoff. I would not pay more than like $1,800 to $2,000 right now, and even that is very risky as a silver. Because he's not even going to get to gold on the 30th. I don't think he's going to get there on the 30th. I think he's going to be like a 79. They're going to give him a 4-point boost off rip based on the fact he's killing lefties and righties. That lefty contact is going to get such a big jump. It's at 44 right now, and he's hitting 429 against them. But it's literally 7 at-bats. 13 plate appearances. He has 6 walks against them. So how high can they really jump it? I would say 13 to 15 points, which is again a huge jump, but you can't boost it to the 70s just because he's hitting 429. He's literally 3 for 7. But the power's been off the charts. He's killing righties as well. So we're going to see a big power versus right jump, a big contact versus left jump, a little power versus lefty jump, and a little little contact versus righty jump. So we're going to see something in all 4 of the primary. I call them the big 4: the contact and the power versus right and versus left. So that's going to set him up. Like I said, I think it's going to be a 79, and then we're going to go from there. It's a big investment right now for somebody that you're really hoping can get all the way to diamond. If you don't have the stomach for that, for the ups and downs that he might have before getting there, don't invest. If you don't mind, if you like to try to go big and diamond hands Vlad Jr., do it. I'm probably going to get a little handful. I got one right now. Probably going to get in there for a few more and kind of see how it goes. Here's the thing too. Don't be afraid to watch the market and if they get really crazy with him, especially if he goes to 70, well, let's just say he goes to gold. Let's say they give him the 5 points. I think his price would soar off rip. And if his price at gold starts getting into like the 4,000 range, I would consider selling at that point. Take your 3,000 or near 3,000 and bounce, and that way you don't even have to worry about potentially missing out on diamond. So that's something I would definitely consider, and you should always stay in tune to your investments to see where their prices are, because sometimes you can sell on the hype alone. In fact, I know multiple investors who only sell on hype. They wait till a player gets super invested in and hyped to get moved up on a Friday, and they sell on that Thursday based on that hype. And then whether or not they get upgraded, they took their profit and ran. You're never going to be on the outside looking in if you take profit. You may leave something on the table at times, but you're never going to be upset with yourself for getting profit. So make sure that you don't just set it and forget it with your investments. Check in on them, especially, say Vlad goes up to an 80 and his price goes to 2,800 off rip. And then he has a 2-homer, 4-hit game 3 days later. His price would probably jump to like 3,800 to 4,200, somewhere in that range. And if you bought at 1,100, I'd probably sell. Because if he goes to an 80 off rip, he's still 5 points away from diamond. Now, again, I think they're going to be looking to try to get him there. And if he continues to perform like an MVP candidate, they're going to give him diamond. But it's going to take a while. So invest in Vlad, but be smart. My boy Lourdes Guriel Jr., I would have loved to be talking about him as a potential diamond. He's doing nothing right now. He's been a nightmare. So, no, it's just not there. Bo Bichette's been excellent. Can he get 4 points to get to diamond? It's certainly a possibility. And you see here that he's up plus 13s against righties, and that gets him up to an 84. How's he doing against righties this year? Let's take a quick look. He is doing very well. 281, 311, 561 with 4 of his 5 homers. So he is going to get a boost against righties. Against lefties, he only has 12 plate appearances. So there's nothing really. I mean, he has an 879 OPS, which is good, but it's too low to really say anything about. So I wouldn't get too hung up on anything that Bo Bichette's doing against lefties right now. He's going to get a boost. I think he's going to be in the 82, 83 range, so it's going to be 1 or 2 points. But it is setting up for a potential diamond. His price is investable right now, but if he does get a 2-point boost to 83 and spikes, I would be careful investing at him for anything that starts with like 3,500 and beyond. I would be careful because there's still some profit potential, but you're really starting to cut into the margins. If you believe in Bo Bichette as a diamond, get in now and just sit tight. All right, anybody else on the Jays that really needs some chatter? Man, I don't think so. Not right now. David Phelps is pitching well, but nah, it's really just a good ERA. Tim Meza has 4 1/3 good innings, but no offense to Tim Meza, but like what? Nah. So no, I don't think there's a whole lot else to really get into right now. If you want some long-term guys to maybe look at that aren't performing well right now, that you could maybe see a level jump from. Man, I don't even know if those exist because, Guriel could get there. I mean, look, he's got a 5-star today that gets him into an 85, but he has so long to go, and he's not even, he's cheap to go get, to complete your collection, but is he cheap to invest in when he's performing this poorly? No. If he was closer to 1,200, then maybe I'd get in. But right now, no. If he gets downgraded, that would really, he could feasibly get downgraded out of gold. He's performing so poorly right now. Marcus Semien hasn't been very good either, and he's 5 points away, so I don't really see it. Ryu might be the one who is like he's not even been bad. He's actually been quite good. His skills are not off the charts though. So maybe you want to invest in him as a potential diamond because he's been there before. I could see it, but I would make him like a half investment. Again, going back to what I said early, if you consider a full investment to be 20 shares or 30 shares, cut it in half for Ryu. I would not go full bore on him because he's not. While he is a great pitcher, and I think he's a legit stud in the league, he doesn't overwhelm the opposition. So that K9 is not going to skyrocket. He's a walks guy, but he already has an 87 BB9. Or he's a control guy is what I mean by that. So he's been there before. You could certainly do a little half investment in him, but don't go crazy with Hyunjin Ryu. Anybody else? I love Rowdy Tellez, but he's 5 points away, and he's really offense only. Kevin Biggio's been brutal, and he's a bronze right now. He could get to silver this year, but do you really want to invest for bronze to silver? Not really. Did I give a 2-level guy for this? Oh, yeah, Vlad. Vlad's the obvious 2-level guy for this team. I don't want to overly complicate it and pretend that that there's anything more to say there. So I think because I took about as long as I thought, that's just me. I think we're going to have to cut it by division instead of by league. So we're going to do the AL East here as its own thing and wrap it up, and then we'll go division by division. I don't think all of them will be an hour. I don't think they can be. That will be insane to put out 6 hours of content that way. But here's the first hour with the AL East. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to have all the other divisions out as we go forward here too. Thanks so much for watching.